Okay, that's all. Okay, class. We have done tutorial 1, right? Yes? Yes, no? Tutorial 1. Okay, Chai, can you help me to, what do you call that, share the tutorial 1 questions? Sorry, past few days very busy with a lot of things. So I don't remember what I'm doing and what I've done.
Okay.
So can
I'll
you?
wait for a while.
Yeah, sure, sure. Take your time. So let me see whether I've covered all the tutorial 1 questions. If yes, done, then I guess we'll continue with tutorial 2 next week. I will let you go. If there's any question I haven't covered, then I'll go to tutorial 1. Tutorial 2 is elicitation. So comes before the lecture. So I'll go through before the lecture. Because lecture is in the evening, right? Oh no, Tuesday. Okay, it should be okay also. Let's see. Okay, let's look at the questions. I guess we have gone through this. Okay, have you completed? Yeah, we have gone through all these questions, right? Yeah, I remember I have explained all this questions answer. Okay, 2 obstacles for good requirement engineering. One example, overlapping. Yeah, we have discussed these questions. So, Chai, can you please share question tutorial 2? I have created the assignment for you to submit tutorial 1 or not? Yes, no? Each group submit one copy. Each group submit just one copy. Have I created the assignment for you to submit your tutorial 1? If no, then I'll create after this class today.
I think no.
No, okay, I create after this class today. Remember, always I give you 1 week. If I discuss this Monday, for example, you have to submit before you see me again next Monday. So I will check, okay, usually in the evening, the day you have tutorial. So I will give you 1 week time, okay? Okay, tutorial 2 is all about elicitation, I think. Okay, so okay, let's go to tutorial 2, a few questions, okay? Discuss why knowledge acquisition is very difficult process. Why getting the knowledge, collecting the knowledge, gathering the knowledge, okay, from resources or from stakeholders is very difficult. Okay, this is given, I guess one slide is given in lecture, just like in point form. What are the problems? I want you to identify the problems in collecting requirements or collecting knowledge, okay, from stakeholders or from artifact, okay. But I want you to explain further. In lecture notes, I have given you just point form. I want you to try to give me example to explain why gathering knowledge from resources or from stakeholders considered very difficult. Then number 2, explain scenario artifact driven requirement elicitation technique. Discuss pros and cons. This one quite easy. You have to explain what is scenario, what do you call that, elicitation technique. So how do we use scenario? What I mean by scenario is like narrative type. I create like a story, concrete. Concrete means real example, real example in our daily life or maybe real world. Then we try to explain the scenario in narrative form, like meaning we explain like a story. Then you explain all this. After that, you give me an example. Okay. Always when you explain, try to explain with an example. Then after you're done with the explanation, discuss pros and cons. Okay, what is pros? Concrete technique. It's a concrete technique. What is cons? Negative of scenario. Sometimes you have unwanted, unrelevant information, because when you try to explain like a story, you go and explain something which is nothing to do with requirement. You can explain what introduction and conclusion, which is like nothing to do with the requirement. So unwanted informations. Okay. And then number 3, assume that you are going to adopt knowledge reuse requirement elicitation. Okay, for this you remember there's a diagram, domain independent knowledge technique. There's a diagram. If anyone remember the diagram, reuse of domain independent knowledge technique. Okay, so I want you to come up with a diagram for the library system. Yeah, the lecture notes also give you library system. Even the tutorial also I have library system, so shouldn't be problem for you to do. Okay, remember you have a few things that you have to identify. You must make it clear. Okay, assume that you have been assigned to lead a project team of 15 software engineers to develop an online hotel room reservation system, star hotel. Okay, fine. So this is a scenario given. This is an example of scenario. Can you see number 4 paragraph? That is an example of scenario. Explain 2 criteria you would use for stakeholder analysis. Yeah, got 6 factors, right? Just give me 2 criteria. Got 6 criteria. Just select 2. For this system, try to pick the most relevant to the scenario. State and explain 3 stakeholders for the above mentioned system. Yeah, for each criteria, identify 3 stakeholder. Overall, both together must be 3 stakeholders. Suggest and explain 4 requirement elicitation technique. Quite easy. For this given scenario, try to explain 4 elicitation technique. And you see, I didn't mention whether stakeholder driven or artifact driven. So you can give me any technique as long as elicitation technique. Okay, as a senior software engineer, discuss 5 guidelines of effective interview. We have so many guidelines. Like, you know what, prepare before you go. Okay, put the, what do you call that, the interviewee as, control on the interviewee. Okay, then do not hurt or do not annoy the interviewee. A lot of guidelines given, right? Try to manage time management. All this can be a part of guidelines. So try to identify 5 good guidelines that you will follow. Differentiate between active and passive observation. What do you mean by active observation? What do you mean by passive? I want this to be done in a table. In a table. Okay. Compare. Okay. What is active? What is passive? Any, for example, observation. Do you interrupt? Okay. While observing, do you interrupt? While observing, the staff or whoever. Which one you interrupt? Which one you don't interrupt? With the people that are being observed. So you have to write all that. Okay. Compare a few criteria. At least 3 criteria. Compare active and passive. With the aid of diagram, discuss activities involved in requirement elicitation process. Yeah, there are only 6 activities. There are only 6 activities, okay, in elicitation process. So I want you to identify all the 6 activities when eliciting requirement. Okay. So no worries. This one I'm just going through the tutorial. I haven't discussed any answer. I will discuss the answers in next tutorial before I go with tutorial 3. Today I have just gone through the questions, explained to you how to do. So I want you to go and find the answer. You want to do in Word or Google Docs, can. Later when you come back on Monday, I will try to discuss each and every question in detail. So you can sit with your group and try to improve your answers. Once done, you can submit your tutorial too. I will go through each and every question again on next Monday or next Tuesday, your tutorial time. Okay? Is that clear? Any question regarding the task given to you? Practical, identify the stakeholder analysis criteria or factors, 1 each. List down all, first explain, then list down all the stakeholders for each factor. Okay, all the possible stakeholder. Can you have overlapping stakeholder? For example, decision making and also what do you call that? The system acceptance. Decision making, system acceptance. Can I have like both also end user? Can or not? End user here, end user there. Can. It is possible. Some of the stakeholders will be there in more than one factor, in more than one criterion. It's okay. When you write all the what do you call the stakeholders, you don't have to duplicate. But when you identify by the what do you call that, the criterion, okay, or the criteria one by one, then you don't have to worry about duplication. Just can repeat. Try to identify or analyze all the stakeholders for each factor. Okay, so you can have duplicate with compared to the other what do you call the stakeholder analysis factor. So no problem. So like for example, customer exists in more than one factor. Can, no problem. Okay. You can just show first. Later, when you write down the list of stakeholders, you don't have to duplicate. Okay? Is that clear?
Yes.
All fall asleep ready. So sorry for
No.
having too late. As I told you, I don't know, first week of the class and second week of class, I seriously had something. So I cancelled your class and I have to do the replacement. So from next week, I hope there's no more issues. Our class will be as usual, physical class. Okay, I'm so sorry about this. Okay, I know you like it, but then I don't like, because I don't know whether you all listening or not. Okay, let's test. Okay, say yes if you are listening to me. Type yes. Let's see how many of you are listening. Oh, not bad, not bad. Oh, okay, good lah, your class. Very good. Like this means no issue. Okay, then that's all for today. Any question? Okay, any more question? So tutorial 2 I will discuss in the next class. Today I just went through for you to go and find the answers. Next class when you come, I will go through one by one question and I will be asking each group to give me some feedback. Okay? Okay, that's all. See you. Bye-bye and good night.
Thank you, Miss.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Miss.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks,
Miss.
TIE, for sharing the screen. Yeah, welcome.